Price, because we're free, putting money in your pocket every time you listen. Sports Radio, The Ticket.
Yep, download that new and improved KTIK app on your phone. If you've never been to your app store, ask, I don't know, your grandson or daughter or son or daughter. Maybe they'll help you assist and get that KTIK rolling on your phone with the easy pressing of like 2 buttons. I love our new app, Prater.
Are you making fun of old people?
I think of
old people know how to download
my
an
mother.
app.
Like no, man.
Your mother couldn't download an app?
It'd be hard, man. She has a hard time with like the direct TV, the whole input thing. My mom doesn't get when, no, Mom, this is your direct TV. And then input 2, that's all your Amazon Fire Stick apps. That's all you really need to do. Input 1 and input 2. God, you look really weird right now wearing that visor. I can't even look at you.
Wait till 4:15. Or we're going to do that segment at 4. Look at me, ball game. Look at me, ball game.
It looks weird, man.
Look at me with sparkly eyes, ball game.
The man who was more synonymous with a visor in this town than anybody for decades, Mike Prater, no longer wears a visor. His wife won't let him, but he found some old raggedy KTIK Sports Radio The Ticket visor in the studio, and he's got it on. Our cameras are on here. It's a lot of fun. And
this is my tribute to Dirk Koetter.
You were inspired today by Dirk Koetter.
105 Boise State football players on the Blue at practice this morning, 10 official coaches, and probably a support staff of, 25 maybe, running around doing their thing. So that's 100, let's say 150 people running around. There was one person with a visor on at practice this morning. Oh, and ball game, it brought a smile and a tear and a tickle to my heart to see the visor. Yes, my visor, I wore my visor for like 25 years, including every single day of the 3 years that I covered Dirk Koetter. I think he wore a visor as well. That was a long time ago. We're old men now, and we have to have a debate at 4 o'clock whether visors are still fashionable. My wife has banned, that's just weird to say, by the way, has banned visors. I've been with her for 11 years. She's given me one rule and one rule only. The visors are gone.
Was it because she said it was like a, hey, grow up thing?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, it wasn't like you just don't look good in them.
Well, probably both.
Okay.
Probably. I mean, but don't I look good? I look good in this.
No, because your hair, I'm imagining before when you wore the visor, your hair looked a certain way. You've been wearing a hat all day. You just took the hat off during the commercial break, throw your visor on, so your hair just is like, whoa, hey, dude, you never let me get ready. I didn't know you were going to the visor. What are you doing to my mop up here, Prater? So
I haven't cut it for a couple of months, and it is a little sloppy, but that's the one thing you can do when you're not wearing a visor. You can put on a hat and not worry about it. So.
Yeah, I'm an expert in that. Let's talk about practice today.
Let's talk about Dirk Koetter.
Your overall observations. It was funny. All the media, we all walk on the field today on the blue. Beautiful day, like I said. And it's like everybody's eyes, we all were just like keeping our head on this massive swivel, like, where's Dirk? Where's Dirk? Where's Koetter? Where's Koetter? And then for me, it was like, is Hank on? Is Hank on for sure? For blah, 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 blah. No, Hank. Okay, I'll confirm that. Where the hell is Dirk?
I was going to ask you, how much time did you spend looking for 19?
It was the first thing I did.
I didn't even look.
Okay.
I just assumed that he wasn't there. And between the sun and my old eyes, I don't want to look at 105 football players and the numbers. I waited till they got into the quarterback group, and then there was Koetter. And I never even looked for number 19. And I'm thinking at one point to myself, I probably should, and I never did. So I'm glad at least
that would have been weird.
I'm glad you at least confirmed that
if Hank was out there. He was not out there. All right. Well, what were your observations? You covered Dirk Koetter from 1998 to 2000, so you know the guy well certainly on a coaching standpoint. Certainly. What was your observations today? Practice and what'd you take in?
He certainly didn't look like a 63-year-old man. I think that's exactly what he is. He was running around with a massive amount of energy. I don't know how much he's been on the practice field the last 24, 48 hours. I think they've been doing some stuff here and there, but they got after it really hard today. And that dude, he had all 4 of his quarterbacks, all freshmen, and he never really left their side. He worked an awful lot with Matt Miller in the passing game. They never, in the 4 periods that we got to watch practice before they kicked us out, which is roughly about 35, maybe 40 minutes, they didn't do a lot of 7-on-7 stuff like they have in the past. So it was a lot of drills. Dirk Koetter spent a majority of his time working on blocking vision on short passes. And I'm not sure if that's a new emphasis. It's certainly a drill that we hadn't seen as we were out, and we've been out there before, but the 4 quarterbacks working on their short game, and Dirk Koetter with a big giant blocking pad, rushing at the quarterbacks, holding the blocking pad. It's about 8 feet in the air when it's all said and done, and trying to block their vision as they work on their short passing game. He spent, I don't know, half his time doing that drill. They spent a lot of time working on that drill. A couple of times they brought the wide receivers over. There's Davis Koetter. Back to your point to Andy Evelos the other day. Davis Koetter and Dirk Koetter hanging out. I got a pretty cool picture of Pop and son on the football field together. They're pros. They're very selfless in how they approach these things, and they're out there doing their thing. So, just in terms of the energy, the bouncing in this step, acting and jumping around, jogging from place to place, running like a football coach normally does. It looked a little bit different. I mean, this man's been in the NFL for the last 13, 12 years, maybe.
Okay.
At 2008 to 2020-ish, if I remember right.
For the last time he's coached in a season, is that what you said? I think it was 19. I think he was with Tampa Bay from 16 through 18, maybe 15 through 17, and then he went back to coordinator for a couple of years too. And I think it might have been 19. This is last year coaching, but you couldn't tell that today, man.
No, it was really weird. It was really weird to see him at one point. Long time. Equipment manager Dale Holste walked over, and he doesn't talk to the media. He's a grumpy dude.
What'd he say?
He comes over and he goes, "I'm having 1998 flashbacks." And I said, "That's exactly what I'm having right now." It's very weird because Dale and I back in the day would spend a lot of time watching Dirk Koetter do his thing in 98, 99, and 2000. And all of a sudden Dale says, "I'm having 98 flashbacks." And I think we were all kind of feeling the same way.
My takeaways, it felt like, I don't know, the quarterbacks and the receivers, I love watching them work out today. And this was against air. There was no defense, but I thought the mustard was on the hot dog on a lot of these throws, Prater, especially a couple I saw from Taylon Green to the aforementioned Davis Koetter. I thought Davis Koetter looked as crisp and clean as I've seen him practice in a long time. Maybe he's fully getting recovered from that injury he had before the season. He looks like he is limitless out there. He had some good catches, some great routes. I was impressed with that. And I like what I saw with Dirk doing with Taylon Green and Sam Vidlak, a lot of old school read option plays. And by old school, I mean like 06, 07, 05, like Urban Meyer with Alex Smith, Chip Kelly with Dennis Dixon, like just a real simple quarterback decision. You read one guy and you either keep it or you give it to the running back. And I'm expecting to see a little bit of that this Friday night. I think it plays to Taylon Green's strengths. I think it'll calm him down. And then maybe if you want to get real creative, you can put an RPO attached to it too, if they want to. But this is going to be real interesting. I mean, Friday night for me cannot get here quick enough. Sitting up in the press box, waiting for this, waiting to see what Dirk Koetter is going to run. I can't wait.
And a lot of people, and probably correctly so, they did this with Hank Bachmeier. This part of the offense has existed since the beginning of this year. And they tried to force Hank Bachmeier into some of that read and some of that RPO stuff and getting outside and buying himself a couple of seconds. So in terms of what the offensive line or the running backs or the wide receivers or the tight ends along the edges have to do, I think it's very natural for them. Now you take that offense, or at least the wrinkles of those offense, and you plug in Taylon Green, it becomes more of a natural fit. So I get your excitement. I sense your excitement. I know exactly what you're saying, and I can't wait. As much as I've been hesitant and skeptical of the Taylon Green era started, I want to see it because I want to see what he can do for this entire game. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about, maybe it was last week, getting into the fourth quarter against UTEP, garbage time, so I can see an entire quarter from Taylon Green. Whoops, that didn't work out.
All right, I know. That's the plan, right? The plan was for him absolutely to just play last week. Taylon Green thought he was getting in the situation, however, so just didn't call for it.
We have learned in the last 24, 48 hours that there was Taylon Green packages for every single game so far this year, and it's not always worked out that way.
Yeah, which is, again, I mean, I'm not in that situation, but it's tough to have when you build a game plan, you say, this is what we're running with today and this game, and there's no, I don't know if it's the effort isn't great enough. I don't know if the worry is too great to switch it up like that. But for me, in a lot of those cases, it wasn't like the offense was doing anything to make Andy Avalos sit there and think, I'm liking what we're doing here. We're going to play the hot hand, so to speak. You haven't had a hot hand at quarterback all season. I'm surprised we didn't see that. But as Andy Avalos made it clear today, Taylen Green is the starting quarterback on Friday night. And Dirk Koetter, this offense is your new baby doll, bro. Okay? You got to love it. Yeah, you got to hold it. And you got to figure out a way to score some stinking points, Dirk Koetter. And this fan base, I'm telling you, they are going to be fired up real quickly if, in fact, that happens. They're averaging, 283 yards per game on the season, something like that. They're one of the worst offenses in America. It's going to be tough, Prater, to get any worse. It is.
I agree. I mean, I think Taylen Green will make it better. We'll dive deeper into this at 5:00. I just worry about the turnover factor. This offense
sloppy.
Yeah, I do. I mean, Taylen Green's going to win you some football games. Taylen Green's going to lose you some football games. The turnover factor, the sloppy factor, the interception factor. I need to see it. I don't want to see it.
Turnovers are going to be obviously of the utmost importance, not only for the offense to limit them, but for the defense to try to find a way to create some against the San Diego State offense. Again, Friday night. What time is this kickoff? Is it 7 or 6? 6 o'clock on Friday night. Even better, right? You think a lot of people getting off work early that day, right? You take an early day. You get off about 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Go home, get ready.
I would. Absolutely. It's not like the Fresno game where we just learned the time yesterday. The San Diego State time we've known from day one, right?
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah, no, we have.
Okay.
So I take the day off and start drinking Bloody Marys before noon.
We're going to give away tickets to this game in less than an hour. So if you want a chance to go, maybe you've never been to a Boise State football game, this will be a fun one to go to. A new era of starting quarterback. We think here Taylen Green is going to get the start, and he's what? The 10th starting quarterback?
Yes, sir. The 10th starting quarterback in 11 years since Dirk Koetter. I was reading Dirk Koetter's Wikipedia page. Since Kellen Moore. Out of those 10 quarterbacks, no, this isn't a fair question. That's not a fair question.
Out of the 10 quarterbacks since Kellen, you were going to say which one did I like the most, or which one was the best?
How many of them would you pick to start over Hank Bachmeier?
Yeah, that's kind of an unfair question, but I would probably pick. I mean, am I going to start Ryan Finley over Hank Bachmeier?
I don't think so.
Dude got drafted. Hindsight being 2020.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Joe Southwick or Hank Bachmeier. That's a good discussion, I think. Obviously, you're going to give me Grant Hedrick. Obviously, you're going to give me Brett Rippon. I mean, those two go without saying. Taylor Tharp doesn't make this list. This is starting with Kellen.
Yep.
Jalen Henderson.
Henderson and Cozart are kind of the
Cozart. Yeah, Cozart actually started a game.
Yes.
Yeah, and Chase Cord
I believe Cozart started in one game, and I think he won.
Okay.
Chase Cord started a couple. Don't forget, by the way, Sears actually started 2 games.
You're right.
Because he started that Air Force game, and then he started that BYU game the next week.
Why do I keep saying that?
And got hurt in the first series.
Series.
Yeah, so you keep saying that Sears got the 1 start, but technically he got the 2. Although the second one, he was pretty much robbed of it.
No, you're right, though. The last non-Hank Bachmeier quarterback to start a game was Jack Sears versus BYU.
Correct.
In the COVID year. I keep saying Air Force because you're right. It was the first series where he went, now think about that. Like, you want to play the what-if game as a member of Bronco Nation? What if Sears doesn't get concussed on that play? Not saying they would beat that BYU team, but they were driving that opening series. Bates had the big catch down the sideline. Shaq had a big pickup. Like, just what if, man? It's so think crazy.
As much as I enjoyed the Hank Bachmeier era, as much as I defended the Hank Bachmeier era all the way up until the bitter end, the Jack Sears scenario was very, very intriguing.
Yeah, that's the name that I don't think people are going to forget for a while in Bronco Nation for a dude who started 2 games.
Yep.
All right, Hank Bachmeier has spoken. JP knows exactly what he says. We'll tell you when we come back on Prater on the Ballgame, Idaho Sports Talk, Sports Radio, The Ticket.
Idaho Sports Talk with Prater